Hello everyone, we are live. Welcome. Ooh. Let's wait till everyone gets in first before we get too excited. Hello everyone. Welcome. Drink water, stay hydrated. Don't forget. Very important. Very, very important. Hello James, hello Tom, Black Phantom, Zenri, Perspective, good to see you mate, how you doing? Raven, Modular, Beckham, Luca, McQuah, Lena, Jake, Luca, Sajana, Luca, Scott, William, Ward, Muzza, Luca, again, TG, Bishal, Yusuf, ABI, Winchy, yes, good to see you, Winchy, how you doing, buddy? Paul, Luke, Harry, Zach, F1 fanboy, Jester, Casper, Jivesh, Prod, Aporv, Christos, I can't pronounce that name, I'm sorry. Race Mode, hello, buddy. How you doing, mate? Shout out Race Mode F1. Great channel, just dropped an absolute banging video. Race Mode F1. Open it up. Open up another tab. Give them some love. If you like Tifo football, you love their stuff. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to what has become pretty. What's the word? When something always happens. Not regular. Traditional. There we go. It's kind of a tradition. I mean, you just look at my channel now. Look at my videos. It's just all lives, which is not what I expected the channel to become. To be fair, but obviously at the minute, I am. One proper video a week is pretty much capacity for me at the minute, where I'm still working. But I enjoy doing the live streams. I love doing them, and this is definitely going to be a big part of the channel going forward. But anyway, how are we all doing? Good to see you all. I look very, very pale and white today, don't I? I need a tan. But yeah. Oh, yesterday. Well, yesterday. Jesus Christ. Oh, also, this live stream's already been limited in monetization for some reason before I even started it. So apparently something about tagging, I don't know. I don't even do any tags either. So there you go. No confidence from YouTube. That's never happened before, so that's a bit strange. But I don't care. Who cares? I'm seeing one name more than any other in the chat. I think you can imagine who. But we'll get into that as we go. Thank you everyone for jumping in. 522 viewers at the minute. Lovely. Boom. Creeping up. Although I need to adjust because you can't actually see the number here. Actually, if I put my hand, there you go. Now you can see it. I've just got to stay like this whole stream. That's fine. I just need to move that around at some point because of this big window that just white. Anyway, right. Let's get on to it. So, first and foremost, let's look at the race results for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Here we go. There's the top 10. Pierre leading the way from Carlos Sainz. I put Bottas P3. What am I doing? What's wrong with me? That's Stroll. I put Bottas in twice. Hang on. I'm going to fix this. Everyone. Calm down. It's okay. Don't worry. I know I've put Bottas in twice. Don't attack me. I can't believe I did that. I completely omitted my boy Stroll. I put in Valtteri twice. Somehow Mercedes has still managed to find its way onto the podium. Absolute bellend. What an idiot I am. Right, come on. Bottas. There we go. Stroll. And that's the thing. Like, listen, I wouldn't call myself a Stroll fan, but I definitely like rate him, and I think he deserves more respect. I've just omitted him from his second. There we go, nice and updated. Everyone ignore that. Stroll P3, Norris P4, Bottas P5, Ricciardo P6, Hamilton P7, Ocon P8, Kvyat P9, Perez P10. Also not on screen, the rest, it was Latifi, Grosjean, Raikkonen, Russell, Albon, Giovinazzi, and then Verstappen, Charles, Kevin and Seb all retired. So that's just they're just facts, okay, on the left side of the screen. Now I've updated it. My driver of the day. Well, look, I mean, come on, obviously Pierre. But if it wasn't for Kevin Magnussen breaking down and pulling over where he did, I welcome race mode to Francis Tomo as well, mate. Appreciate that. Thank you, buddy. Very, very kind. If it wasn't for Kevin pulling over where he did, having the technical issue where he had, this would have been, it would have still been, still don't think Bottas would have got on the podium. So we still would have been looking at and Verstappen. So we still would have been looking at a non-Mercedes, a non-Red Bull second and third, to be fair, regardless. But obviously with that, everything just went crazy. Probably shout out to whoever made the shout to Paul Lewis into the pits as well. Yeah, that was pretty mad. But yeah, so I've put Kevin as my driver of the day because I was joking about it at the time. Well, actually, to be fair, I put a tweet out saying like praise be to Kevin Magnussen or something, and then someone replied with Kevin Magnussen driver of the day, and I was like, yes, that's a great shout. Akshay, Thomas seems really happy today. Thank you, Akshay. Well, the thing is, right, we'll talk about Alex briefly. We'll get more into Alex later. And it pains me because you all know Alex is my boy, right? He's my favourite driver, Alex Albon, but he had a shocker yesterday, and like you can't ignore the fact. I'm not going to ignore the fact just because I support him, right? I always try and look as objectively. Look, we've all got biases, right? I always try and look on things objectively as much as I can, and he had an absolute shocker yesterday. He probably had the worst. Obviously, other people didn't finish in that, but in terms of the way things panned out, he had an absolute shocker yesterday. You got to admit it. And yeah, obviously not fun to see, but is what it is. We'll get onto it as we go on anyway. So again, thank you everyone for jumping in. It's 850. Hang on, 843 of you now. There we go. Look at that. Boom. Great work. Albon had a broken car. Legit. Well, we'll get onto Albon later. But anyway. Let's have a look. Let's break things down a little bit in terms of the race. So again, what I've done to actually, I'm going to use my phone because I've got my Streamlabs on my phone. It's great. So then I can just go, boom. Or has it not worked? There we go. Later than ever. Right. So here's my little breakdown. Again, I worked out. We're going to go through each point I've listed here on the left-hand side. So let's start. Let's start of the race as you typically do. Valtteri bottle ass. I'm sorry, Valtteri. I don't like to dig anyone out, but his start was absolutely appalling, absolutely shocking. It was like, I don't know, it's a combination of, because we know, again, we've learned that the Mercedes does not do well in traffic. That car is built for being unreal, stick it on pole, pull away. That's how that car's been developed, because Mercedes know that they've created an absolute monster. Oh, thank you, Perspective, mate, for the free Aussie dollars. Very kind of you, pal. Thank you very much. Check out Perspective F1 as well. Nice little YouTube channel. There's a lot of decent F1 creators come into the bubbling to the surface now. I just got in early. That's why I've done well. But anyway, yeah. Bottas was just falling through. How much of that was just him being a bit shook? I feel like he must have been pretty shook up by them first couple of laps, because again, he made that, like, obviously Norris got past him. We had him going wide after that, which then allowed Stroll past and then gave Ricciardo a run on him as well. I mean, Valtteri, the thing is, Valtteri has been the perfect number 2 driver. He's not a Nico Rosberg, and that's not why Mercedes hired him, because they knew he's not a Nico Rosberg. Valtteri's quick over a lap. You know, he only missed out by a pole by like 69 hundredths of a second or something. So it wasn't much. He wasn't well off the pace in terms of quality, but I mean, Valtteri, man, that was just. And again, he was constantly having to. No one else was having to pull out of the hot, dirty air from the cars ahead. That Mercedes doesn't do well in traffic. But now the other teams know that. How can they capitalise on it? Because Mercedes are always going to be 1-2, pretty much, aren't they? So it's very difficult for anyone to actually act on that information. But Bottas had a shocker at the start. There's no way he's winning a title. It's not happening. I'm sorry, Valtteri. I'd love you to, but that's this. I've said, like, Bottas needs to make a statement. He needs to make a statement to Lewis, even if that's making a ridiculous move up the inside and taking them both out, not on purpose, obviously, but you know what I mean. Like, that's the kind of thing Nico would have done, just to let Lewis know, look, mate, I'm still here. Keep an eye out, son, because I'm in your head, right? And Bottas has never done that. Bottas has never really staked his claim at Mercedes. He's been there since Nico left, hasn't he? Yeah, he took over 2017, right? 2017, 18, 19, now 20. It's not good. But still fifth. I mean, no, it's not good, is it? you can't sugarcoat it. It wasn't a great weekend for Valtteri Bottas, considering as well Lewis had a 10-second stop go and still managed to come within 2 places of his teammate. Anyway, let's talk about Lando. Let's talk about Mr. Lando Norris. What a start. What a juicy little start. Now, like I said, if Kevin Magnussen hadn't pulled over, there still would have been a non-Mercedes and non-Red Bull 2-3, I think, in that race. Lewis would have easily won. And that could have very easily been Sainz and Lando if it wasn't for the red flag. Lance getting the free pit stop. I mean, again, it's a bit of a weird rule, you got to say. But sometimes these things just don't go your way. And Lando missed out on a P3 there yesterday, I feel like he missed out. Oh, no, it says Belgian Grand Prix. Of course it does. Ignore Belgian Grand Prix at the top. Yes, okay, I'm not changing every single graphic. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I mean, you could tell Lando was a bit disappointed post-race, but second and fourth for McLaren. What a constructors' result that was. What a little constructors' result. Yes, I know the graphic is wrong, everyone. It's fine, okay? Don't worry about it. Don't look at it. Don't look at it if it bothers you. Just cover it with your hand. There you go. You can't see it. Just ignore that. Ignore that up there. Don't look at that, even though I'm pointing to it and drawing a lot of attention to it. Anyway. Yeah, obviously, like, if that red flag hadn't come out, we'd have been looking at a McLaren 2-3, I think. Still 2-4. Can't complain. Again, teams around him dropping points. You had Lance, yes, getting that P3, but then Perez was only P10. Renaults were a bit down there. So in terms of relative gain, McLaren had a fantastic weekend. And that little move from Bottas. Oh, thank you, Akshay, for the 200. I'm not sure what that currency is, but thank you, buddy. Christian Horner proved wrong, not just by Gasly, but also by the Renault engine. Interesting. Well, we will get onto that. That is an interesting point. We will talk more about Gasly and the whole Gasly drop and all that as we go on. But anyway, like Lando, that move on Bottas was gravy. Anyway, on to Vettel. When it rains, it pours. Have you ever heard that saying? When it rains, it pours. Please stop telling me that the graphic's wrong. I know the graphic's wrong. Hannah, Tomo, the graphic is wrong. How can we carry on? How can we do this stream? Should we just end it because the graphic's wrong? Yeah, look, when it rains, it pours. And Vettel can't catch a break at the minute. Seb, honestly, P17 quali. It's a poor quali session. And then the brake left rear? Right rear brake? Just catches fire. Scary as well. Like, those polystyrene boards got absolutely nailed. If that had been a wall, it would have been a much scarier incident. Or if that had been like a tyre barrier or whatever. What can you say, man? What can you say? Like, that Ferrari's a dog, clearly. You know, there's clearly issues with the balance of that car. And there's clearly issues with the reliability of that car. Because the brake issues... So, Haas have had brake issues, and Ferrari supply a lot of their parts. And now, Sim Dane in the chat. Hello, Sim. Check out Sim's video last night, mate. Absolute, mate. Your ability to string lyrics together in such a short period of time is incredible. Sim Dane, check him out. But yeah, man, like Seb can't catch a break. It's clearly like the fact that Charles is struggling as well. It's clearly the Ferrari has problems. Charles is doing a better job in that Ferrari, but again, Ferrari, of course, they're prioritizing Charles, and of course they're putting more attention towards Charles because he's their future, and Sebastian isn't. So yeah, man, it's just sad. It's sad. It's sad to see, like, because Seb used to get a lot of stick when he was winning all the times. Again, kind of like Lewis does now. But obviously now that that's kind of fallen away and the results, and now like Seb's such a lovely bloke. You can tell like he must be one of the most genuine people ever in F1. I honestly believe that. Oh, thank you, Folha, for the €5.49. Appreciate that, pal. I swear the race was mad. Loved it. Love your videos as well. You're super chill. Love the vibe. Love the content. Thank you very much. That's me. Go for the chill, mate. That's what I do. But yeah, it was, mate, it's sad to see, man. Like, Seb's such a wholesome guy, such a nice bloke. You don't want to see anyone going through that, but particularly someone who's as likeable as Sebastian. And I hope he gets the Aston Martin move, because he needs to get away from Ferrari. If he doesn't get that, though, that's the problem. If he doesn't get that, then I don't know where else he's going to go. I think he might have to take a year out, to be honest. But sad times for Sebastian. All right, let's talk about Alex. So, incident, first corner, him, Gasly, and someone else on the inside. I think like no one was at fault for that. Alex came off the worst. That could have ruined both his and Pierre's races, because Alex was on the far left. Alex couldn't have gone any further out. He was literally on the edge. And then Pierre was getting pushed by someone on to the right of him, who obviously didn't know that Alex was there. So Pierre and Alex inevitably had contact, which obviously then knocked him right down the order. We heard that he had damage, probably because of that. They were talking on commentary about a big shark bite out of his floor, which obviously wasn't helping his pace. And I think that's probably part of the reason why he wasn't able to get back through the field. But so for those things, I'm like, okay, these things happen. Like, he wasn't massively at fault for those. Like, it was a racing incident. It wasn't deemed to be. And there's nothing more Alex could have done in that first corner. And obviously, if you pick up damage, well, that's kind of, especially at a track like Monza, where a little bit of drag can just mess you up big time. But then he put some like stupid squeeze on Grosjean. He obviously just, I don't know. I don't know the context around that. There seemed to be a big like speed difference coming up to that bit, and Alex just wasn't looking. Squeezed Grosjean, got a 5 second. Was it just a 5 second penalty? It wasn't a stop go. Yeah, it was just a 5 second penalty, which they took in the pits. Oh, Sim Dane, mate. Sim Dane's getting on the donations with the. Is that Danish kroner? 10? I don't know. And Brandau as well with the 6.99 CA Canadian dollars. Cheers, buddy. Other than Lewis, Max, and maybe Lando, Pierre has been the best driver on the grid this season. I told you, everyone who watched my Pierre Gasly Esteban Ocon video, Pierre driver of the year so far, and that was before he'd even won this race. Not saying that I called it or anything, but I feel like I did. No, I didn't really, but you know what I mean. He's been gravy. He's been unreal. But yeah, obviously back to Alex. I think he's just had a shocking weekend. Red Bull generally as well. Max, through no fault of Max's really. Although Max had a bad start, he's kind of blamed that on the engine. But I don't know. Like Max is not known for his starts. He has had a few shockers in his times. But yeah, no, I think it was just a forgettable race. Again, in terms of Alex, like, I still think Red Bull will give him the time this year, just because, yes, I know McLaren made good moves towards Red Bull in the constructors type, but Verstappen's going to be picking up P3s consistently still for the rest of this year. It's just going to happen. So Red Bull are safe in the constructors title, so I don't think they'll bother replacing Albon. I think it is such a weird situation, isn't it? Because if you just delete history, right? Obviously, you'd put Pierre in that seat instead of Alex. Obviously, Pierre's been unreal this year. Alex has been mediocre. He's had some solid results. He's had some good opportunities which have been taken away through no fault of his own. But Pierre's just been unreal, and you would straight away put Pierre in that seat. But Pierre's. It's mad that the difference, because Pierre was just, in terms of on paper, Pierre was doing worse at Red Bull than Alex is right now. And you look at how much stick and attention Alex is getting. Like, factually, on paper, the results for Pierre were worse, considerably worse. But again, that's clearly not a reflection on Pierre as a driver, because he's clearly unreal. But that car, again, and it's like Sebastian with Ferrari. You put a great driver in a car that doesn't suit them, they're going to really struggle. More so if you put them in a slightly slower car that does suit them. Pierre gets a win. Pierre gets a second place. You know what I mean? Like, it's so difficult. I think Pierre needs to get out of that Renault family. But again, I digress. We'll talk about Pierre in a minute. Let's move on to K-Mag, driver of the day. Again, like I said, I've already kind of talked about this. Oh, sorry, did I miss someone's super chat? Jake, do you think Albon will be dropped? No, I don't think he will. I don't see why. Red Bull don't have that pressure. They might as well have out the rest of the season. It's not going to affect their constructors, because they're still going to comfortably be second, as far as I'm concerned. Because Alex is still like 6th in the championship, so he's not like a million miles off. So no, I don't think he'll be dropped. But thank you for the £2, buddy. Appreciate that. Also, Simar Pal with the 25 SEK. Thank you very much, buddy. What is Red Bull going to do now? Again, like I say, I think they're just going to, because they haven't got the pressure that they had last year from Ferrari in terms of constructors. I don't think they will feel as under pressure to make a decision on Alex. And also, what's the alternative? Putting Pierre in? That seems like the only alternative, but that wouldn't be a good move for Pierre. And I don't think Red Bull are prepared to take the Horner and the blokes in charge just aren't. They're not going to do it, are they? They're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. But anyway, K-Mag, Kevin Magnussen. Sonoda's not going to get the Red Bull seat. No, he's going to go AlphaTauri, isn't he? They're not going to put Sonoda straight into Red Bull. No chance. And I love Sonoda. He's my favourite F2 driver. But no, Sonoda will get AlphaTauri alongside Pierre next year. That could be a bloody lovely little combination. Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda at AlphaTauri next year. I think that's guaranteed going to happen. But anyway, right, I'm talking about K-Mag now. Let's talk about K-Mag. Kevin Magnussen. Well, look, I've put him driver. There's not much to say really, is there? I've already kind of said it. His lack of fortune ended up giving us one of the best races in a generation. I think you've got to say that. Like, it was an unreal race. But the point I wanted to make in this section is that at the end of the day, what made yesterday special was because it was so unexpected and it was so against the norm. Now, if that happened more often, would it be as special? Not quite. It wouldn't be quite as special. But look, if racing was closer, you would still have teams that would rise to the top. You'd still have teams that fall to the bottom. But these kind of instances and these like opportunities for stuff like this to happen. Hannah's at the door. I can hear her. For these opportunities that, like, it would still be special. Like, you're still going to have your Mercedes and your Red Bull who are probably going to be towards the top. But then you're still going to have the opportunity for things to mess up. And like I was saying as well, essentially that second race was a reverse grid sprint race. That's essentially exactly what it was. And it was great. It was amazing. Like we had Lewis cutting through. Because again, like I feel like I wouldn't blame Lewis for being like, well, I mean, he's probably forgotten how to properly battle and fight. You know what I mean? Like, because it happens so infrequently. Because again, that Mercedes isn't built for it. That Mercedes is built to be ahead and just pull away. Unreal. It's crazy. But yeah, man, I think like that was a good. I think the sport needed that. The sport needed that because we've kind of come to expect that some races are just going to be boring. And look, compared to any sport, you know, sometimes football matches are boring. I mean, you get 0-0 draws and no real opportunities and chances. But I think, I don't know, man. I think F1 really do need to consider like adding something into the mix to change things up a little bit. Again, you look in F2. Yes, they have the reverse race, but it works because the best drivers still rise to the top. The best teams still rise to the top. Oh, thank you, Mark Glenn, for the $4.99, buddy. Very kind of you, pal. Appreciate that. Great race yesterday. Fight between Gasly and Carlos at the end of the race. Solid shot in the arm. Thoughts on the reverse grids. Saturday race, though. Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Mark. I think there's a lot to be said for something like that. There really is. And again, when the 2022 regs tighten up the gap between the top and the bottom, you know, there will still be the best teams and the worst teams, but there won't be as big a discrepancy. But then overtaking should be easier because there's more ground effect focus. I think they should do it. I really do. I really think they should. People say, "Oh, it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick." I mean, it's a made-up sport. You know, like everything's a gimmick. You know, like if you call it a gimmick, then it can be a gimmick. Is Minton coming in? What are you doing? Minton, come here. Hannah's just popping out, so I'm just going to grab Minton. Oh. What are you doing? What are you doing, eh? Right, Minton's here. Minton's on stream. Oh, thank you, legit, to Zemo for the $4.99. You lot are so generous today, man. Gasly and Russell equals Mercedes 2022. Lewis retires with 8 world titles. That would be the dream. I mean, Gasly's got it in his locker. Gasly has got it in his locker for sure. But anyway, yes. Basically, the point was reverse, like mix it up a bit. You know what I mean? Mix it up. Come on. That's what we want to say. Hello, mate. What are you doing? Oh, look at him. Right, anyway, on to the next. Naughty Lewis. Naughty Lewis. He did admit afterwards that he was in the wrong. I have actually seen the quote where he was like, "Oh, I didn't see the X's." So he took responsibility for that. Obviously, at the time, that was so jokes when he was on his little scooter, just caning it. That was a great little helicopter shot of just following him round. But I was just waiting for that someone to be not looking where they were going and just absolutely nail him. Would have been quite funny. Obviously, as long as he doesn't get hurt, I don't want any of that nonsense. Can someone edit Minton highlights? You tired, mate? He's usually kind of just getting up this kind of time, aren't you, lazy boy? But anyway, yeah. Obviously, that was probably quite fun for Lewis. I reckon, like him moving through the field, making moves. I reckon he quite enjoyed that because that can't happen very often. Look, obviously, they're serial winners at Mercedes. They've got a mindset there that, you know, anything less than... But I think, you know, we can all acknowledge... I know Toto in the post-race was saying that how, like, he acknowledges it is good for the sport. It's great for the sport, you know. We all... to be honest, like, I was glad yesterday that Alex wasn't up there in the battle because I would have been... Well, I think Alex will get those opportunities going forward while he's in the Red Bull. I'm sure it will come. But also, it just meant I was just much more chilled because I would have been so nervous if Alex would have been up there. Whereas, obviously, I wanted Pierre to win. But But if Carlos had won it, I still would have been happy. If Stroll would have won it, I still would have been happy. You know what I mean? Like I would have been cool with all of that. But yeah, man, Lewis is that dodgy pit stop just made it, because the thing is, like, Gasly second, Sainz third, if could have been a thing, or again Norris, Carlos second and third if Lewis hadn't made that mistake. But it's not quite the same when you still got the same person winning the race. You know what I mean? It's not quite the same, is it, Minton? What did you think? He's a Valtteri Bottas fan. Of course he is. Mwah, good boy. Do you want to lay down? There we go. Hold you like a baby. Sometimes, no, he doesn't want to sit like that. Okay, go on. You can go on the floor then. Don't scratch at the door. Daddy is streaming to how many people? 1,500. That's ridiculous. I don't even want to think about that. It just makes me nervous. Yes, I know it says Belgian Grand Prix. Okay. It just is what it is. I forgot to change the graphics, okay. Anyway, Charles. Now, I've watched that incident a couple times back, and yeah, look, I feel like Charles actually lit up the rears around Parabolica before he actually hit the AstroTurf, unless it was that left rear, because I haven't seen, like, obviously, you don't get a proper third-person camera, unless it was that, like, left rear that kind of touched it, and then, but again, that Ferrari, man, that Ferrari's clearly a very difficult car to drive. Both drivers have said it numerous times to get out of it at the limit. And that was a nasty shunt, man. That was a nasty shunt. You look at that and you're like, rah, I hope he's all right. Because that was a nasty shunt. But obviously he was fine. He got out. He was all good. And then obviously that then, along with K-Mag, Charles's incident enabled the amazing race we had at the end. But Ferrari, man, and yeah, 100% Charles's fault. Like, I don't think, like, as much as the car is skittish, like, he's the one driving it, and, you know, that Ferrari chassis is dead. It's not just the engine. That's the thing. You wonder how long Ferrari have got by with creating a mediocre chassis. I guess because their engine's been so good, they haven't had to put as much resource towards their chassis department, because in terms of how they're going to prioritize using their resources, they're like, well, we might as well focus more on developing this sick engine that's going to blow everyone away on the straights, and the chassis department that can be level 1, whereas the engine's like level 12. But now the engine's been nerfed, they're getting sussed, and again, Kimi, I mean, obviously, you know, Charles probably would have beaten him on track if he hadn't crashed, because the way Kimi fell through the field, but that was more to do with the soft tyres. But Kimi had the pace on the Ferraris again this weekend, and there's an Italian team winning, and it ain't Ferrari, it's AlphaTauri. You know what I mean? That's it's a mad situation, and Carlos getting a P2. I mean, I don't see him getting on the podium in his Ferrari days anytime soon. Obviously, there's only one season where Carlos has got that kind of that crossover, but man, listen, like Vettel going to Racing Point, you know, / Aston Martin, definitely an upgrade if that happens. I hope it happens. But yeah, man, Ferrari have just been sussed out massively. Why are Ferrari in this situation? To any Ferrari fans out there, it is absolutely unacceptable with the amount of money, the amount of resource at Ferrari to develop a car that has a dodgy engine and the chassis is worse than at least 7 teams on the grid. It's ridiculous. Like, that's not acceptable. That's like a team spending millions and millions and millions, way more than anyone else, because Ferrari do get a lot more than anyone else in terms of both sponsor and F1 payments up until this time. Obviously, that is going to change, but they still get the most out of sponsorship deals by far and away as well. I've done a video on that. They get way more than second place, Mercedes. I don't know, man. They're missing a Ross Brawn. They're missing a Jean Todt. They're missing they're missing some actual leadership from. I feel like, I don't know, man. It's easy to say because look, the Italians, you can't fault the Italian passion and desire in terms of, from that point of view, Italians second to none. But I feel like someone needs to come from outside of that Ferrari echo chamber. And again, it can be for numerous reasons. It could be a lack of accountability. You know, you look at like even just little things like Toto Wolff talked about at Mercedes. Everyone at Mercedes, there isn't a blame culture. This is just one element, which I think probably does exist at Ferrari. Blame culture doesn't exist. If there's an issue, people feel comfortable being like, I've made a mistake, or, oh, this is wrong, because Toto's instilled a culture where people aren't afraid to make mistakes, and ultimately that means things gets resolved quicker rather than people sitting on their ego and being like, oh no, I don't know what's wrong, when actually like there is a solution there. You know what I mean? I feel like that's an example, and we know that was a problem at Williams as well. There was a big blame culture there, so it's not just an Italian thing. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying they need someone to come in from the outside, I feel, who isn't part of that Ferrari family currently, and just a fresh look on things. You know, they miss someone like James Allison from the technical point of view. They miss having Mattia Binotto to focus on the technical side of stuff as well. I don't know, man. F's for Ferrari, all in all. Also, Hannah's just got back, so Minton's squeaking. Can you hear him? Minton? Squeak? I'll let you out. Go on. Go get mummy. Literally, that dog is ridiculous. But yes, all in all, not good for the Tifosi, not good for Ferrari. Let's move on to Lance Stroll. Now, look, Lance Stroll, third place, his second podium. These are all second I forgot about that when I tweeted. F's in chat. F's in chat for Ferrari, precisely. I just look around, there's loads of F's. I'm just like, what have I done? But yeah, F for Ferrari, Reza. Good shout. Look, Lance Stroll, 2 podiums from a driver who isn't rated that highly by many. But listen, like, yeah, he got lucky with the free pit stop, which essentially cost Lando a podium. But he puts himself up there. He's got 2, like, I'm not saying he's as good as Hulkenberg, not at all. I think Hulkenberg's a more complete driver, but he's got podiums and he's taken opportunities. He's still only 21. Still only 21, Lance Stroll. But obviously, Stroll missed opportunity on that restart. And I think Stroll's actually known for his good starts. Stroll, that is a particular, like, what's the term? Feather in his cap? He's good at starts. And he needed that. And he did a Valtteri. It's funny how, I don't know if it's just something to do with that side of the track. Obviously, the track had been... Can you hear Minton sniffing at the door? I'm going to have to grab him again. Minton, you're so annoying. Come here. Oh, he can't make his mind up. Here we go, mate. Come on. Right. Yeah, I think... The thing is with Stroll, like... That was a great chance, because I feel like if he'd have maintained his position in second at the time, I don't think he'd have been caught, because he was catching on Carlos and Pierre slightly towards the end, but I think if he'd have been out in front, he would have kept that gap and pulled away, and I think Stroll could have won that race. Stroll really could have won that race. So he said it himself. He feels it's a missed opportunity, and you know. This thing, these drivers know they're not going to get these opportunities that often. That's why, like Ocon, I don't know if anyone heard Ocon on the radio afterwards trying to vent and rage about the result, because P8 on a weekend like that, that's a big missed opportunity for Renault. And then Cyril and his team manager, he's what's the term? Race engineer, were actually like proper having a pop at him, like, shut up, Esteban, stop talking. It's actually quite funny. But that's Renault things, isn't it? Soon to be Alpine, for anyone who hasn't heard, it will be Alpine F1 team next year, which will be quite interesting. Gutted though, because that livery, as I've said, that's now my favourite livery. That's overtaken the Haas for me. That Renault is beautiful. But there you go. Yeah, Stroll did get lucky, but again, that's, a lot of that is the case in F1, and you could say the same about Pierre, but listen, you deal the hand that's thrown to you, and Stroll took the opportunity, got on the podium, fair play to him, fair play. I still think, in terms of now, when you're looking, if Vettel does come in to Racing Point / Aston Martin, who does he replace? Does he replace Sergio Perez, who is early 30s, has lots of experience, delivers consistent results, pretty consistent, 10th place last 2 races, so, but still win the points. Brings a lot of sponsors, so has a lot of money behind him. Or do you go with Lance Stroll, who's not as quick as Sergio, certainly not over 1 lap. Race pace, I'd say he's not a million miles off. I think they're pretty close in terms of race pace. I think Perez is quicker over a lap, but Stroll knows how to overtake. I think Stroll's a good overtaker. He pulled a great move. He pulled a couple of really good moves actually yesterday, Lance Stroll, on Sainz, and when he went past Raikkonen, I think it was, when they were really close. But yeah, and he's 21. He's 21. You look at all them things and you think, okay, maybe slightly Perez, and then, and it is the owner's son. Listen, I think Stroll's done good things this year to make him being considered less ridiculous than it would have been last year and the years before that, where he was clearly well off Perez. But he's definitely closed that gap this year. I 100% think he has. He's definitely closed that gap. But again, missed opportunity this weekend. Anyway, let's move on. Lewis charges through. I mean, it was kind of the discrepancy between how Lewis was able to pass versus Valtteri. Obviously, look, he's passing much slower cars, but Lewis almost caught right up. But the thing is, Valtteri, once he got in that dirty air, that was having a detrimental effect to his car. Lewis is the better driver, for sure. It was just, it was just nice to see Lewis making some overtakes and coming through, because we don't see that very often, because he's usually just out front and just pulling away. So I don't know, that was kind of refreshing to see. It took you back to the kind of, turn of this kind of century, when Lewis was at McLaren, and he was having to fight much more for results than he is at the minute. We want to see the top drivers fighting, and again, I think that's what having a reverse grid thing will mean. That Lewis will probably still rise to the top and will probably still win, but you'll have to cut through, and people will be able to defend, and it just adds so much more entertainment value and so much more of a challenge for the drivers as well. I feel like Lewis knows that he's got the quickest car, and if he just pings in a good lap, he can just pull away. But there you go. Anyway, right, come on. Pierre versus Carlos. I mean, that ending was unreal. And the fact that it was particularly good just because Carlos only managed to get DRS in the last lap. And then it was just like, oh my God. I was like, again, I was rooting for Pierre, but I was still like, I wouldn't have been sad if Carlos would have got him. I would have been a bit sad, actually, to be fair. I would, no, because, I mean, again, the drivers that I root for, Alex, Daniel, Lando, and Pierre. They're my 4 that I kind of always keep an eye on, more than anyone else. And, yeah, man, that kind of close battle for the win is the kind of thing we see it in F2, we see it in F3, we never see it in F1. And particularly with 2 drivers who you knew this was a golden opportunity, and one of them was going to win that race. Decent. I was going fucking mental. It was so good. So good. Actually, Paul Walker, I've just seen your comment. Albon should have taken revenge with Hamilton when they get closer. Alex, your race is already over. You might as well just punt Lewis when he tries to go past you, going through. Just vindication. I'm joking, obviously. But yeah, I did. I was joking with myself. I was like, oh, why don't you just take him out? You know, just give him a bit back. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah. I mean, listen, couldn't be happier for Pierre. We know he's been through so much on a personal and professional level. You know, losing his Red Bull seat. You know, losing his best mate. His house got robbed earlier this year as well. Like, that guy's been through a lot. Yeah, he comes across as the nicest bloke. He comes across as the most genuine, nicest bloke. So I'm like so happy for him. And first French winner since '96, Olivier Panis. I don't know if anyone heard the French coverage, the Canal Plus coverage of the last lap. Mad. Great to see. French commentator going absolute mad. It was good. It was good. It was good. And yeah, listen, Carlos has got to be, again, obviously, you think it's missed opportunity, but all in all, you know, he did a good job. In terms of what's the future for Pierre, because the thing is, I feel like with AlphaTauri, I think for the time being, he should stay put. He's in a team that he's very comfortable in. He's in a team that he knows he can get points in, and he can just keep. You know, Pierre's still only 25, 26 maybe, 25. I think he's 25. Might even be 24. I'm not sure. But that can't be underestimated. Pierre knows what it's like to go from a car he's very comfortable in to a car that he's not. And then for him to risk doing that again to the same team where he wasn't comfortable before, I think he'd be making a big mistake. Because as much as I think he's a fantastic driver now and he's improved, he was a fantastic driver back then when he was at Toro Rosso. He got that Red Bull seat firmly on merit, and it didn't work out because that car is a very, very difficult beast to drive. It's a shame they can't just like input the settings from the AlphaTauri to the Red Bull, because I feel like both him and Alex would be doing a better job. He would have done a better job. In terms of the whole Gasly getting dropped, I think, because the way Red Bull worded it at the time were like, oh, we're just going to swap Alex in, so then we've got data on 3 drivers, Alex, Kvyat, Gasly, and then we can make a decision, which, okay. I think that's a nice way of them packaging it up and making it sound a bit more, you know, PR friendly. And then also you've got, you know, Christian was saying about how, what was it again? What was he saying? He was saying that Alex's car hasn't had the parts that Max's car has. Again, is that a way of Red Bull trying to exonerate and get the pressure off of Alex? Maybe. Is it true? Probably. I think it probably is, because again, you look at Ferrari. Are Ferrari going to be prioritising parts and all that and new development for Charles over Sebastian? Probably. Because they're both quite, actually, I feel there's quite a few parallels to those kind of situations. You've got one driver there who's the future, got that contract, clear future of that team. And you've got another driver who's out of favour, and obviously one's losing his seat. The other knows that his seat is up for grabs if he doesn't perform. There's a lot of, you know, there's different elements there, but there are similarities as well. And yeah, I just think that I tweeted about earlier. I was like, because Ocon's performances I think have been okay this season. I think there was a lot of hyping up with Esteban, and I think all things considered, I think he's done an all right job. But I think our expectations were higher. If Esteban isn't able to improve and move and develop, could Pierre take his seat in 22? Swap one French driver for another? Could they work together? Again, I think they potentially could. But it kind of depends on how Ocon's performances go moving forward. But again, I just think, you know, for anyone to take that second Red Bull seat is a huge risk. Huge risk. Because, again, it's clear as day what's kind of going on at Red Bull. I don't know, man. It's tricky. It's tricky. I understand. I understand why people think that Pierre should go back. I get it. Of course, like again, if you take history out, of course, I'm like 100% replace him, swap him, of course. But if we don't learn from our past, we go on to make the same mistakes again, right? And I just don't want that to happen to Pierre because I think he's too good a driver, and for him to go back to Red Bull and have it happen again, which is very, very realistic. Because again, he was a great driver back then. I just think it's not worth the risk. Personally. But anyway, I'm gonna round it up now. Mugello, I'm gassed for Mugello, man. I love Mugello as a track. I remember back in the day when I used to do loads of time trialing on Forza 3. Mugello was one of my favourite circuits to do hot lapping on, and yeah, man, like it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. I don't care. I don't even care if the race is boring. I just see F1 cars go around Mugello. That in itself, that's already set a minimum good standard for as far as I'm concerned for the race. And I think I look at the track and I know people. There is a fat long straight. You've got that sweeping left-hand corner before you've got the main straight. There's definitely going to be DRS down there. There's definitely going to be overtakes at the end of that. Rest of the circuit, again, there's a lot of kind of tight corners that if people break a bit of traction, you can get a run. The drivers are going to have to be on it. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the drivers mentally because it's going to be a very taxing lap. And physically, it's going to be a very taxing lap. I think all of those things coming into consideration. It's a brand new track as well that no one's raced on in Formula 1 before, ever. I'm looking forward to it, man. I am absolutely buzzing for Mugello. So I hope it delivers. I'm confident it will. But obviously, listen, we can't expect a Monza every week. We need to reset, our expectations, because honestly, that Monza race was one of the best races I've ever seen. Comfortably top 3 ever. And has to be that's got to be a top 10 race of all time, surely. That Monza, absolutely. In terms of who I think will do well, again, it looks like it's. I think that is Mercedes all over that track because there's a lot of sweeping, fast turns. It's going to be Lewis and Valtteri, isn't it, at the top? Again, I think the Red Bulls will struggle. I think both of them will struggle. I think we could see some, another non-Red Bull podium. I definitely see that coming. This track just doesn't seem suited to the Red Bulls. And again, with the whole engine thing changing, it doesn't seem to have gone well for Honda, even though Pierre won with a Honda. So, I don't know, man. It's tricky. But all in all, I think it's going to be a decent race. It's probably going to be low or high downforce because it's a very quick track, but there's a lot of sweeping corners which you need that downforce for. So it's tricky. But anyway, I'm just going to have a little look in the old chat. Let's go back to the results thing. I'm gonna answer a few questions in the live chat. How long were we going for? 53 minutes. I'll answer a few questions. F1 fanboy, McLaren's second in constructors. I don't see that happening. I think Max will consistently continue to pick up like P3s and that. And I think, if we average out the rest of the season, I think Alex will be getting, anywhere from like P4 to P8. I think he will do that pretty consistently for the rest of the season. So I don't see anyone breaching that gap to Red Bull. Hence why I think Alex is safe. Because I think if it was tighter, if there was another team right up there with Red Bull, I think that there's more chance of there being a replacement. But there you go. Will Bottas chuck the start again? I don't think he will. I wouldn't say so. What is L of the day? Loss of the day. Just Alex took the biggest L at Monza. As much as I hate to say it, it's just facts. It's just the truth. Abby, Carlos wins in Mugello, Lando P2, Daniel P3. We'd love to see that, Abby. But listen, the Mercedes are going to be up there. That's just inevitable, isn't it? Melina, Tommy, your top 3 races. Canada 2011. Obviously, that was just an unreal day. I don't know really. There's a lot, but definitely Canada 2011 is 100% up there. Gasly to Renault after Alonso leaves. Well, and Daly. I talked all about that in my Pierre Gasly versus Esteban Ocon video. So give that a watch if you haven't already. Because they don't get along, Pierre and Esteban. Probably why Esteban was so angry after the race. But there you go. Yeah, Brazil 2012 was good as well. What means DOTD? Driver of the day. Kevin Magnussen, driver of the day. Yeah, and Brazil 2008 was good. Germany 2019, yeah, it was decent. There were many a banging race. FLX LHLS. Do you think Alex isn't performing well under the pressure like Gasly last year, or is Red Bull just too hyper focused on Max? I mean, just look at how Alex performed at Toro Rosso and Pierre now. Well, again, I think that Red Bull has been developed to have a very narrow kind of operating window that Max is able to consistently get to, and Pierre massively struggled. Alex has struggled to replicate even the results that they were having in the junior team in Toro Rosso / AlphaTauri. So yeah, I think it's a number of factors in it. Oh, Drusev with a 10 Rons. Thank you, buddy. Max to Mercedes in 2024. Well, I think Max is different gravy, and I think Max will continue to be up there, and maybe I don't see him at being at Red Bull forever, because I don't see him having the patience with those in charge. Gasly, Norris, McLaren 2023. That would be sick. To be fair, that would be cool. I see Norris staying in the McLaren family for a while, because I think his performances merit. And obviously Ricciardo's what, like 31, 32 now? So he's definitely got years ahead of him. So I seen Ricciardo staying at McLaren for quite a few years. But again, Pierre's still got about 7-8 years on Daniel. So there you go. Harry Still, yes, doing an Alpine livery. Watch this space, everyone. Watch this space. Taylor, hello Taylor. Thank you for watching, Taylor. Always nice to see you in the chat. Schumacher only 7 points from F2 Championship win. I didn't realise it was so close. Wow. Yeah, Schumacher's got the most podiums, hasn't he? He's not picked up that many wins. I think wasn't Monza on Saturday. Wasn't that his first win? I feel like this year. But yeah, Mr. Consistent in F2, Mick Schumacher doing bits. James RH, what's coming up in the next couple of weeks? More pods and vids. You'll see. Alpine livery will be coming. Don't you worry. There's also another video that I've already filmed and started editing. That will be coming out at some point as well. But yeah, it's difficult for me to do more than one proper video a week at the minute with work commitments and such. Seb top 5 at Mugello. Wow, that's a big call. I don't think he's got the car for it. At all. Hello Felk86. Good to see you too. Thank you for dropping by. Gasly and Vettel to Aston Martin. I mean, I doubt they'd get rid of both of their drivers, but that would be cool. Is it loads of lovely little combinations that could arise? I think next year's driver market will be very different. I think what will happen. I think my best guess. Maybe I should do a video on this actually, on how I think the driver market will change. Like now, I don't know. Would that be a good video? Would people want that? Arthur Lopez, Sonoda is bottling. He's hardly bottling it. He came fourth in the bloody feature race. I don't think he's bottling it. And yes, he had a poor sprint race, but I think that was a technical failure, wasn't it? Do you like carrots on toast, Tweedy? What a weird combination. I don't know. Carrots on toast just seems a bit odd to me. But yeah, I'm thinking because I think Tsunoda replaced Kvyat. I think that's the most obvious one. What I think is more obvious is that Giovinazzi is going to have to leave Alfa Romeo. But in terms of who replaces him, is it Schwartzman? Is it Ilott at Alfa Romeo? I think Grosjean will leave Haas. Right, so I'm saying Tsunoda replaces Kvyat. I'm saying Hülkenberg replaces Raikkonen, because I think Raikkonen will retire. Oh, thank you, Foller. I'll read your message in a minute. I'll just go for the rest of my thoughts on this. So I think Raikkonen will replace Hülkenberg. I think Ilott will take the Alfa Romeo seat and be alongside Hülkenberg. So I think it'll be a brand new lineup for Haas. Wait, no, Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo will be a brand new lineup for. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Schwartzman will take the Haas seat. But then there's Schumacher, man. I don't know. Schwartzman, Ilott, Schumacher, free Ferrari Driver Academy. I don't know. Because Schumacher's got his name, and Schumacher is actually doing very well. He's been more consistent than the others. But I think Schwartzman and Ilott are quicker than Schumacher. But Schumacher's name, I don't know. I might do a video on that. That could be interesting. But we'll see. Anyway, right. Thank you, Foller, for the €10.99, pal. Thank you very much. You're far too good to me. The name change to Alpine is marketing move to make the Renault Group sport brand Alpine bigger in automotive industry. So it's logical, but sad to see the Renault name go from F1. Yes. Alpine's a very famous, if not niche, automotive manufacturer that is part of the Renault Group, but they make like the sports cars and it's all. And Alpine are in Le Mans, or they have been in Le Mans. I'm not sure if they're still in Le Mans, but they have been in Le Mans in the past, not in the very recent past. And yeah, I think it does make sense. Obviously, Renault want to, because at the moment they're only selling like one car, so clearly Renault. This is part of Renault are clearly going to be pushing Alpine now. You know how like McLaren started producing sports cars. So what was it, MP412C, and then since then they've just ramped it up, and now they're big in terms of the kind of sports supercar genre. I feel like Renault probably want to do the same kind of thing with Alpine, and this is part of that strategy to take Alpine to a more mainstream audience. So it looks like we're going to be seeing some more Alpine motor vehicle cars coming up in the next couple of years, I reckon. But anyway, yeah. So it is. It's not a new team. I saw some people being like, "Is this a new team?" No, it's not a new team. It's just Renault rebranded. So we're going to lose the yellow probably. They go with majority blue, and then they have red and white. Obviously, the French tricolore. I don't know how you say it. But yeah, it's going to be red, white, and blue. Mainly blue. So again, when I do my livery design of the Alpine, which might be coming on Wednesday, we'll see. Then, yeah. Sindane, I saw your question. What do you think of Christian Lundgaard? Actually, yeah. So he had a couple of off races, didn't he? But Lundgaard is decent. And actually, him and Joe, it's going to be a battle. But I feel like I could see Lundgaard. The thing is, obviously, what Joe has that Lundgaard doesn't, is the fact that he is from a market that F1 clearly is very important to Formula One, which is China. Done a whole F1 esports Chinese event that, you know what I mean? Like they're clearly putting a lot of focus on the Chinese market because it is a huge market. And so having a Chinese F1 driver is going to be a bit more of a pull to teams from a marketing point of view, which, look, listen, it shouldn't. No one wants that to be part of it, but it just is. So I think Joe's probably got more chance, but I'd probably say, yeah, Lundgaard probably edges it for me in terms of talent to Joe. But either way, they're both quality drivers, and I'm sure at least one of them, if not both, will find their way into F1 eventually. Right, I'm just going to answer like one more question. Roller communist money. I mean, yeah. F1 don't seem to care, do they? They'd happily go to, plenty of questionable parts of the world. because they pay big money. Oh, thank you, Colin Clary, for the $5. Alpine is the European GT4 Championship, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they've definitely already got presence in motorsport, quite significant presence, considering how small the actual brand is. But yeah, clearly they're looking to put out some more road cars to kind of complement. Anyway, right. And one more question. Oh, Aldas is here. Here he is. Hello, Aldi. My favourite budget supermarket. One more question. I'm looking for one more question. Let's find a good one. Come on. One more juicy question. Raycut, I thought Albon was your favourite racer. Yes, he is, but he also had a shocker. So I'm not gonna not acknowledge when he has a bad race just because I love him. That's just not how I roll. I'm a West Ham fan. All right, I'm not gonna blindly support, even when they have a bad. Tom Lee. There we go. Last question. What do you think of the Albert Park track? Do you think it lacks in terms of a track? Yeah, I mean, people give a lot of stick to Albert Park, often because the race ends up being a bit of a dud, and Bottas just always ends up winning. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit meh. I mean, it's a nice place, Melbourne. I love Melbourne. But I think bring Adelaide back. I'd love to see that. But anyway, right. Oh, go on, Aldas. Aldas. Who should be in that Red Bull for 2021? Well, Max Verstappen. I've heard he's pretty good. So I'm pretty sure he'll be in there for 2021. Realistically, I definitely don't think it should be Pierre, for all the reasons I've said, regardless of how well Pierre's performing. To go back to Red Bull would be a big mistake. If Alex isn't able by the end of the season to consistently be 4th, 5th, if he's not able to consistently do that by the end of the year, because we're 8 races in, there's going to be 17 races on the calendar, then I think he'll probably lose the seat, as much as that pains me. Then who would take the seat? So you've got Hulkenberg. I saw a few people mention Hulkenberg in the chat. The thing is, like, Red Bull want a Bottas. That's what they want, don't they? And obviously, if Russell goes to Mercedes, could Bottas end up at Red Bull? Maybe, maybe not. Bottas, maybe? Or Hulkenberg? I don't know. Anything can happen. Obviously, I hope it's Alex. I hope it comes good for Alex. I hope he improves. Hannah's bought me a Greg's sausage roll. Vegan one. They're actually really good. Thank you, Hannah. And yeah, I reckon maybe Bottas. Imagine that, Bottas in a Red Bull. But again, would he even be a solid number 2 driver? Again, that car's tricky to drive, and it's fine to be a solid number 2 in a Mercedes, but if you're not in a Mercedes, then maybe not. But anyway, right. I've waffled on for more than long enough now. It's been almost an hour and 10 minutes. So thank you, everyone, for watching. All 1,145 of you are still here. Hang on. 1142. There we go. Lovely. Thank you, everyone. Do appreciate you taking the time. New video should be going live Wednesday. Not 100% sure which one it's going to be yet, because I'm working on 2 at the minute. But yeah, we will see. So again, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you taking the time. Again, qualifying show F2 qualifying on Friday. We'll be doing a live stream. F1 qualifying on Saturday. We'll be doing a live stream. F2 feature race after qualifying on Saturday. Probably going to be doing a live stream, I think. I don't think I'm doing anything Saturday evening. And then another race roundup this time next week after Mugello. So thank you, everyone, for taking the time. Means it's ridiculous. Like, the thought of just like there being over 1,000 people in there, Okay, and you're one of them. That's just mad. That's mad to me. But yeah, thank you all for the support. Channel growth's amazing. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this, and I ain't stopping anytime soon. Don't you worry. So have a lovely evening. Be nice to each other. Be good. Drink plenty of water. Follow Sim Dane. Check out his stuff. Obviously, Aldas jumped in the chat, so I've got to give him a little shout out. There's so many good F1 channels and all that. Smaller people coming through, growing, and it's good to see, man. So yeah, thank you everyone. Again, have a good day. I'm off. I'm gonna eat my sausage roll. Goodbye. I haven't clicked on the end stream button. There we go. Goodbye.